What if every patient objection? It's too expensive, I need to think about it, or even I had a bad experience. Wasn't a no, but a not yet. Today, we're flipping resistance into commitment using the most powerful tools from overcoming patient objections. Welcome to the show, Harrison and Melissa.
Hey, thanks for having us. Super excited.
Glad to have y'all. I'm excited to jump into this, empowering partners and listeners on how to overcome objections. So let's give a little overview here. Objections aren't barriers, they're opportunities. Can y'all unpack that kind of mindset shift and what it unlocks for orthodontists and TCs?
Yes, great question, Zach. And I think I've got a couple thoughts on this, but the easiest way that it was taught to me very early on in my career is my mentor said, your job starts at no. Because if everybody said yes, or there were no objections, or there were no big decisions, you wouldn't have a job.
True.
If people could just go to www.drboborthodontics and click buy now, you wouldn't need a treatment coordinator. You wouldn't need a front desk. And if let's just say handling objections, which I personally don't like handling objections, because if we do this right, there shouldn't be objections because we vaccinated against them very early on in the process. But let's just say there are objections because there are objections. If that was not a professional skill set, you wouldn't have a job.
Very true.
We call that order taking, right? Why does Amazon not have professional treatment coordinators? There's not a lot of objections, right? You could say the same thing with Target and Walmart and all these lower ticket offers. So what happens is there's a certain price point, and it's different for everybody, right? What somebody's comfortable with in one family is different in another family, but there is a certain threshold of a level of a decision where the average Joe can go ahead and make that decision without really talking to anybody, consulting with anybody, getting questions answered, etc. Back to the example, it's why when you go to Target to go buy doormats or kitchen decor or whatever, there's not somebody there answering your questions, guiding you through the process of answering objections. That's called order taking. You just take the stuff, check it out, give your money, and you're done, right? If the average Joe was able to make this level of decision, $5 to $7 grand for ortho treatment, $3 to $5 grand for an implant, 25 to 50K on full arch kind of stuff. If the average person was able to make that decision on their own, the doctor wouldn't need half the staff that they have in the office. So if I want to be a really good treatment coordinator, a really good salesperson, or whatever synonym tickles your fancy, I've got to understand the reason that I get paid and the reason that a high-level TC really should be the highest paid person in the office outside of the owner or maybe COO, director of ops. But the reason they're going to be the highest paid or close to highest paid person in the organization is because their job starts at no.
Yeah, that's big. And a lot of people turn away when someone says no. They're like, But Melissa, how have you dealt with it? How can we go a little bit deeper where you've dealt with this personally in a dental office?
So, I mean, it really is truly all about your mindset. So when you spent as many years in consult rooms and as many different consult rooms across the US as I have, you really start to realize that patients aren't really giving you objections because they want to say no, right? They want you to validate them to say yes. They want you to help them to overcome their fears and let them know that what they want is valid and that you have the way to help them get it. So once we shift from they're pushing back and start feeling like we're on the defensive or we're having to placate them, and we really start to think about they're asking for support, then your whole entire conversation changes. This now becomes not an objection, but actually, an invitation to educate, a chance to build trust, an opportunity to let them feel heard and seen and really guide them to the outcome that they were looking for overall. So I think whenever we as either clinicians or treatment coordinators or even front desk, no matter where these objections start to hinder or lie, start to embrace, the fact that we're really guiding them and helping them validate, then we stop bracing for that resistance piece. And we really start to listen for clarity. And we really start to hear what their true meaning for being in that office is. And it's really able to just help us bring them closer to the yes, as long as you really honor their concern behind it. So I think we have to learn how to not take objections defensively and take them as opportunities to continue to support, validate, and guide them to what they want in the long run.
Most orthodontists and like the teams feel awkward talking about money and facing the pushback. Why does that matter to the team? Like, how can we shift that mindset?
How we shift that mindset, Zach, is going to be different based on the person, because somebody who's uncomfortable talking about money, their reasons for that are going to be different than why somebody else is uncomfortable talking about money. Maybe it's how they grew up. Maybe it's their current financial situation. I mean, there's a lot to it. So I don't know if I'm qualified in this instance to say this is like how we fix that. But I think we can definitely speak to why this is so important to fix. We all know, or if we don't know, I'll tell you now, right? The majority, and I don't remember the exact percentages, I think it's like 93%, but you guys can all ChatGPT and Google the percentages, but like 90-something% of communication is nonverbal, and a very small percentage of it is actually verbal. So what I see happen when people are trying to sell or convert big things, 5K, 7K, 20K, 50K, if they have this weird relationship with money, or, I've seen this before in offices where, let's just say that office, maybe they are a little bit more on the premium side of fees or more expensive side of fees, and the treatment coordinator be, yeah, we're a little overpriced. Like if they feel that way, they're going to always be projecting their own feelings on that other person. And they can have the best script and they can learn from Melissa on what to say and how to present the fees and da 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 da. But it's not going to, have you ever just talked to somebody and go, yeah, it was good, but I don't know, something just didn't feel right. That I didn't feel right was the subconscious communication going on, whether it was a lack of confidence or a lack of certainty or their body language or they're very resistant. Something just didn't feel right. So the first thing I would say is that if you are the person that's selling the treatment and you're having those feelings, you need to figure out where that's coming from. Is that coming from how you grew up? Is that coming from your current marriage? Is that coming from your current financial situation? Got to address that. But if we don't address that and we don't fix that, you're only going to get the deals that are order taking. Kind of going back to what we just said, if you take the mindset that my day of work or my expertise starts at no, and we don't fix the root cause of how I feel about money or big investments, the subconscious nonverbals are never going to permeate through that person. Like this just happened with me yesterday. Super random. Like I just got my wife a new car last year. Some reason the dealership called me and asked if we want a new car. And I was like, no, we just got a new car. And somehow they made the deal work to where we could get in a new car at lower interest and a lower payment, even like, and I'm just going like, I've been doing cars for a long time. I don't know how this is making sense. I talked to the sales guy and this dude just like super nice, super kind, super attentive. But I could just tell like this guy was not sold on the deal. There was something in the, like he didn't believe it or he thought it was too good to be true or something. I was like, I don't know. I cooled off. The GM called me and I was like, oh, this guy gets it. Like he knows exactly what's going on. Now I'm like hot on it again. We'll see if it comes on. They said the same thing. They walked through the same numbers. They talked about the same financing. This guy got me hot on it. This guy did not. And it was all the nonverbals that was happening.
For me, I take it and I think that, I've been in dentistry and orthodontics for over 20 years. And realistically, you throw it back 20 years ago, there was a stigma in talking about finances. There was some propriety or inappropriateness that maybe kind of spanned across this broad spectrum. And I think sometimes that tends to carry down. But I think what it really boils down to is confidence and conviction. For one, I can tell you right now, I was a good TC, or am a good TC, because I truly believe the impact that braces and orthodontics make on a patient. This is not just a smile. This is, the smile they're going to wear on their wedding, their graduation, the first smile their grandchild or child's going to see. So I believe wholeheartedly in that. So to me, it's a steal. It's a bargain. So it's not a problem. But realistically, whenever we get down to it, most ortho dental teams feel awkward discussing money because no one ever taught them how. No one ever taught them that there's a value to being empathetic to understanding what someone's budget is or where that may span or set. And so whenever we really start to give a structure and an understanding that feels natural and protects the trust that we want to build with our patients, we're able to move them towards that outcome. And we get to have a realization that we're not selling braces or dental work. We're actually improving the quality of life. And the number behind that becomes really insignificant. And it just becomes a barrier that's reduced and an ability to talk about it flawlessly. But the realistic side too of it is you're going to come down to money eventually. So, do you want to make it comfortable and just go ahead and talk about it? Or do you want to have a great flowing conversation and then turn completely awkward as soon as the dollar signs pop up?
One thing to build on top of that, and Mel, you hit it, is that you were fully convicted, right?
Yeah.
Not only were you convicted in the product, that's the first step, right? I have to be convicted that this is a good clinician or this is a good product or they do good work. Also, you also need to be convicted on the outcome, that this outcome is going to change your life or that it's going to make a very significant positive impact in your life. And once I'm convicted in the person who's doing the work, the doctor, once I'm convicted in the outcome, now the mindset has to be, if I don't get comfortable talking about money, I'm never going to be able to help anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't close them, I can't help them. Remember that. You could have a 5-hour-long consult and teach them everything about dental health and why your implants are better, why your orthodontics. You could spend 5 hours with these people educating them more than anybody else could. But if at the end of the day, it's your uneasiness with money that's holding you back, well, you and I, we all know here that the treatment coordinator at like some corporate chain, they're good at closing deals.
Yeah.
So now your weirdness or uncomfortable with money is actually hurting people because your inability to get them over the edge, because of your inability to get comfortable with money, is letting them walk out your door and go buy some low-end crap from a corporate chain. So not only were you not able to help this person, you might have actually been the reason that they ended up in low-quality, crappy treatment. I mean, if you truly believe in what you do, you truly believe in your provider, you truly want to help people get this outcome that they want in life, we got to fix that. You're never going to be able to help them if you can't get them over. And like, gosh, what a tragedy that would be. Let's just talk on the implant or arch thing. Ortho, yeah, there's corporate, there's like Clear Choice, crappy corporate, right? What if you see this person and like all their implants failed and like they look a mess? You're like, why'd you go there? They're like, well, they made it easy and they were confident and you seemed very uneasy about the money and like, it's your fault, like it's silly, but this is what happens. You've got to make it like your duty to make sure that if the person's going to spend the money, they're going to spend the money with the person who's going to get them the best result.
100%. I mean, I truly believe, especially for myself, you can't sell something you don't believe in. And if you believe in it, there's not an obstacle to overcome that you're not going to be able to do, whether it's talking about money or connection or any of those pieces. So I totally 100% agree with that.
I think, wholeheartedly knowing and vibing with everything is going to be huge. But I want to go into some risk on relying on standard objection answers. Like you kind of touched on it, people might go to other places, but are there some other risks that you could be going through?
It just comes down to, in my opinion, are you raising sales resistance or are you lowering it? People do not buy when they're in a state of resistance. People do not buy or say yes when they're guarded. Like I'm a sales guy and I'm a sucker for a good salesperson and I love to buy. But like when you start trying to tactic me away, like my guard goes up, and I can sniff these things out from miles away because I've done this my whole life. But I think that we've all been so maybe conditioned through bad salespeople or bad sales tactics that we can sniff them far apart. And like as soon as we go, this guy or this gal's just trying to butter me up, it doesn't bring resistance down. It brings resistance up. And like I learned this relatively recently ago, like, and it's a habit, but like when I get on a call, like I always, the first thing I want to ask, so how you doing? How are you doing today? I actually think that's one of the fastest, most visceral ways to raise people's sales resistance. Has anybody watching this or you guys on this call, have you ever bought something and gone back and gone, I am just so happy that salesperson asked me how my day was going today?
No.
No shot. Right? Or when somebody goes, yeah, so how's the weather? Like my immediate thought is like, this guy's just trying to butter me up here. It raises resistance, and so I think the easiest way to get resistance down or handle objections is know what the objections are going to be. Because when you sense resistance or when resistance comes or objection comes, this is a point to write in your notes if you're watching this. The resistance or the objection is a result of what happened 3 steps ago. It's not what you just said. It's what happened 3 steps ago. And this is one more note to put down for objections and resistance. Any measurement or let's just say any resistance that comes out is a result of one thing, and it's a result of overpacing them. You're out of sync or out of rapport, and that's because of something that happened 3 steps ago. So I don't want to spend time, and Mel, I'm sure you feel the same way, of how to handle objections. If they say it's money, then you say this, and if they say it's... No, what the point is here is get out of your head, stop being so internal, and just notice what's happening in front of you. We know what resistance looks like in body language. We know if we've lost them or we're overpacing them or we're going too fast. We're going to see that. Notice what's happening in front of you and only respond to that. Keep resistance down. How do you keep resistance down? Get in rapport. Stay on their point. Pace them, not yourself. We could talk on this for hours, but the whole objection handling thing, I think handling objections raises resistance in and of itself. It's too expensive. Oh, well, tell me what you need it to be. Like, oh, dude, nobody wants that. How's your day going today? Really, dude? You don't care how my day's going today.
Well, and I mean, I get to deal with this a lot, in the TC coaching and training scenario. And it's always very clear to me from the get-go on someone who grasps the true understanding of what this job and this position entails, because we use scripts all the time. I create them, I hand them out. But the reality is, if you're following that script to a T, then they know it. They can feel it. You're disconnected. I can hear it in a phone call. I don't even have to be sitting in front of you. I can hear it. The whole purpose of a script is to give you a guideline, an outline. And then you have to still be able to approach it by not just memorizing lines, but understanding the emotion and the reason behind that objection or that objective script, and then using that to respond authentically, right? So are we really focusing on replying and using an automated Autobot script, or are we focusing on connecting and understanding that what that patient truly needs to feel comfortable and move forward? So for me, the risk whenever you truly start to implement just a script, you lose trust, you disconnect from their actual needs and emotions, and you come off as transactional. You're not supportive. You're not putting their best interest in mind, you're going through the motions. So while scripting is great, especially if you're learning a position or learning the understanding of the objective of how you're getting to, the end result is fantastic, but there should never be a point in which a script is read verbatim, word for word. And Harrison, I actually remember this whenever I came on with HIP. I can remember because, right, so I'm coming from TC world, clinical dental TC assistant, all this world, into HIP. And I remember getting our presentation, and I went through and I wrote, I typed out, it was probably the, most wasted hour and a half, 2 hours of my life. I wrote out this whole amazing script with all of these great filler words and all these amazing things I was going to say. And then I get on my first call, and it was a dud. It was over before it ever began. And then I remember a conversation you and I and Luke had, and you were like, Mel, like, do you realize why you're good at what you do? It's because you care. It's because you connect. It's because you're empathetic. If you would just lead with that, the rest of this will come to you in the long run. And I had done that all along as a TC, but for some reason I thought, oh my gosh, I have to change it all because I'm doing something different. And you brought me back to my core values, the core of what made me who I was and why I loved what I did. And because I believed in HIP just as much as I believed in braces, it became an ease. So I think scripts are fine when we're learning. Scripts are fine for understanding and maybe having some accountability to things that we need to remember to talk about or discuss. But a script should never be used because they will know it the minute it comes out of your mouth. So that's my spiel on scripts, and I use them. They're great. They're there, but they are not something to rely on.
I think we could give them a couple tactics here because we both, I think, just gave some really good perspective and value, but it is broad, So if somebody wants notes or I hate tactics, but some things to put down. First and foremost, when you're first meeting with somebody, the number one goal here is to get their resistance down, because when somebody's coming into an ortho office, most people, they're already a little nervous. They're already having a little bit of buying anxiety because everybody told them it's expensive, right? Obviously, there's exceptions to this rule, but the average family, they're already a little nervous and I hope I'm going to be able to afford this, right? So the first thing is we need to get resistance down. How do we get resistance down? We break the pattern. What's the pattern in the script that they're used to? Oh, hi, Mrs. Jones. Welcome to our office. And how are you doing today? Right? And now we're on the pattern, right? This is going exactly how I thought it was going to go in my head. Okay? We got to break the pattern. Ask them something crazy, ridiculous, something that will make them laugh and feel safe. The reason people's resistance go up is because they don't feel safe. They're sussing you out. Is this the salesperson? Is this the person who's going to be trying to take my money? Right? So they're already anxious because they know it's expensive, and they're already sussing you out if you're the person that's going to try and lure them into buying something, even though they made the decision to come to your office to buy something. That's a whole different conversation, but we got to break the pattern. Okay? What's the pattern? How are you doing today? How do we break it? I don't know. Hey, Mrs. Jones, good to meet you. You guys staying out of trouble over there today? And it's not a normal question. And I do this all the time. You staying out of trouble today? They go, and then they laugh, and you literally just see the tension come down. And they say one of two things. Well, I'm doing my best, Harrison. I go, I know, I'm doing my best too. Or they go, yep, staying out of trouble. But they laugh. The resistance has come down because the pattern's been broken. There's a million things you could ask. You staying out of trouble? That's one, right? Breaks the pattern. The second tactical thing, if you want to really work on keeping resistance down and keeping objections down, the only thing you should be focused on right now when you're learning this is to stay only external, only what is going in front of your face. Everything from here back, we're going to call that your brain. This is bad. This is bad land. This is dangerous land. Only notice what's going on in front of you. You want to get in rapport with somebody, only notice, and your eyes are your ears. I can't even hear what they're saying. I'm just noticing. So how could I get in rapport with Mel or get in rapport with Zach or get in rapport with somebody if I couldn't even hear you talk? What would I be noticing? I'd be noticing how fast you're breathing. I'd be noticing your eyeballs. I'd be noticing if you make eye contact with me or if you're nervous about eye contact. I'd be notice your posture. I'd be noticing your hands. And just practice this with your friend or your family or your spouse or your something. Literally just work on matching people. Now, don't be weird about it. If Zach puts his hand up, I'm not going to put my hand up immediately. But if Zach kind of comes here, I might start talking and, just slowly kind of come here and watch their breath, breathe with them, and just get in sync with people. A lot of the scripts will start to come out when you're really in sync with somebody. If you've ever been on a date, and you're just like, oh, that went really well. And you don't even remember what you talked about. That was like being fully in sync with somebody, right? Practice that. Break the pattern, get in sync with people energetically, not to be too woo-woo, but only listen with your eyeballs when you're learning this. Put earplugs in. Go try and get in sync with your kid. If you have kids that don't talk yet, amazing training on this. If you're raising a dog, like we're raising a puppy right now, holy cow. I haven't raised a dog in 10 years. Trying to get in sync with a puppy is a really good training tool on just getting in sync and getting in rapport. And also raising a puppy forces you to be external because they don't know how to give you the cues yet. You got to be I think that's potty. It's nothing with your ears.
No, I think that's so true. I mean, even for me, looking back, I don't think I have, a question. Like you said, it's always, I kind of just treat it as if anything. I mean, you've met me. I will literally talk to anyone and everyone. It's not really an option. If you're in the vicinity of me, we're gonna be friends. And like you said, if you use your visual aspects and you can see how people are responding, or if seem like they're stressed, or if they just have a great vibe, and you just go off of that, and you just insert that into a conversation as if they weren't, your patient, right? Like they're just another person, in the middle seat of the airplane that really doesn't want to talk to you, and you're going to find a way in. Just being able to make it more human, make it an interaction. Like everybody wants to feel like they matter and that, that you care. And I think whenever you just insert with that, the basic conversations of how was your day go right out the window, because there's going to be something that you notice about them, their shoes, their smile, how they're kind of feeling in that moment that you're able to bounce off of. And that breaks, like you said, it breaks their barrier, and that makes them want to be your friend and want to speak to you. And that's where you're going to see them really open up and give you the opportunities that you have from the beginning.
True connection. That's what I'm getting from both of y'all. Creating true connection and doing it quickly. You don't have to know somebody 5 years to have a true connection. And scripting, when you were talking about that, I started thinking about Daniel Day-Lewis. He has a script, but he's a method actor. And that's what you have to be, is you have to be a method actor, get fully invested in what you're doing. You're not a second grader on a Christmas skit delivering lines. You're Daniel Day-Lewis. You're method acting for whoever's in front of you, and they're going to be able to tell if you're fully bought in and that you're connecting with them.
We just went to our first holiday party, and I think if you go to a holiday party, you'll see just watch, you'll see the people who are external and can get in sync with everybody, and you'll see the people who are completely in their head and can't get in sync with anybody. Mm-hmm. And it's not always the tallest guy or the prettiest lady. There's always one or two people, and did you meet that guy? Yeah. And he's everybody's best friend. Did you meet that gal? She's so cool. Just go to a holiday and just watch. You're like, oh, that's somebody getting in sync. My wife noticed this because she doesn't fully get what I do for a living. She just knows I do stuff in dentistry. And we went to this holiday party. She's like, why does everybody just start talking to you? They just tell you their whole life story when you say hi. I was like, because I'm just in sync with these people. I notice their body language, how they're breathing, their tonality. Are they quiet? Are they loud? Are they fast? Are they slow? And I just do that.
Oddly enough, we went to a holiday party this last weekend as well. And it's kind of one of those same scenarios. I mean, by the end of it, I think I had 5 new best friends, some potential suitors. I mean, I don't know. I actually convinced, we had a casino style party, and I actually convinced the dealer. I mean, I won at blackjack whenever I busted, but we just were on such a good rapport. I was like, that was 21. She's like, you're sure right it is. You know, like it's just so easy when you're passionate about people. I mean, that's what it really boils down to. Sales, TC, front desk. I think your number one passion outside of whatever it is you're selling has to be people.
So let's jump into the financial side of it. Talking about the feel, felt, found method. This is super popular, but it's often misused. What makes it work well for the orthodontic setting, and how can we keep it genuine?
It works in any setting, first off. I mean, this is a tried and true method that people have been using in every freaking vertical known to man. And I think the reason it works is because it's empathy. Right? People, I hope we've all heard the saying that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Number one. Number two, people need social proof and testimonials and proof that this has been done before and I'm not on an island. And feel, felt, found kind of puts that all in together. And if anybody's watching this that doesn't know that, it's I feel you, or let's just keep it simple. Totally understand. I feel you. I remember when I was bringing my kids into orthodontic treatment, I felt the exact same way. But after talking to XYZ doctor or talking to my friends, what I found out was that my child's confidence actually went through the roof and they actually started doing better in school. Now, that's a grandiose example, but that's how it would flow, right? It's too expensive. Oh, Mel, trust me, I feel you. I remember when I had 5 kids to put into orthodontic treatment, I felt the exact same way. But what I found out was that my kids' confidence went through the roof and they were doing better in sports and they were having more friends, and it ended up being the best thing I'd ever done. It works for anything. I'm newly married. I have a feeling it'll work on where we decide to go eat, on a date night. Baby, I feel you. I know you want a steak. I felt the same way when I was craving steak. What I found out was I felt really heavy and sluggish the next day.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think this just reverts right back to normalizing and validating a patient's fear instead of dismissing it. We don't know what we don't know, and they don't know what they don't know, right? So patients want to know they're not the only ones who have ever felt this way, who have ever had these doubts and things. So I think, some little notes on this is keep it real, use your own patient stories. I promise you're going to have enough of these conversations that you're going to have so many feel, felt, found scenarios that you can use. So using your own patient stories or your own personal stories is so huge. Speak slowly and avoid being exaggerated claims. Nobody wants to be over the top, and we're going to know that you didn't feel, felt, or found that out if you are over exaggerating everything. And just remember, it's a bridge, not a tactic, right? So this is a way to bridge the gap of their concern to their outcome. It's not a tactic to use. It's really more so just putting yourself in their shoes and helping them understand that people of all walks and shapes and forms have been through the same thing. However, we found the way to get them exactly where they wanted to be, and we're going to do the same for you.
This episode is brought to you by the Practice Paradox. If practice growth advice has felt random, like it works for everyone else but you, it's because it's not the strategy, it's the fit. The Practice Paradox matches growth strategies to your practice personality, so you stop trying to force tactics that fight your wiring. For $19.99, you get the book plus the Practice Personality Assessment, a 5-minute diagnostic that shows what actually works for you. Grab your copy of the Practice Paradox and the Practice Personality Assessment now. I want to go into price versus cost. This is something that is huge, that I know Harrison has talked a lot about over the years. But let's talk about what's the difference and how does it help a patient shift from hesitation to taking action and starting.
Yeah, great question. Probably one of my favorite topics to talk about. First and foremost, if you're the facilitator or the treatment coordinator, or TC or whatever, salesperson, you've got to know this point. So let's start off by saying that price and cost are not the same thing, yet the majority of society interchange these words. The majority of society, and I hear treatment coordinators say it too. Yeah, we cost more. No, your price is higher, but you cost less. Price and cost are very different. So first, get that down on your paper. Price and cost are different. When we understand the difference between price and cost, and we hear prospective patients interchange these words, it should be one of the easiest closes that you have. So let's start off with this. What is price? Price is a one-time thing. The price of something is a one-time thing. Price is simply the amount of money it takes to buy a product or a service, period. Price of the car was $50,000. Now the question, Zach, would be, if you keep that car for 3 years, 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, does the car cost $50,000?
No.
Mm-mm. Now we've got interest on the loan, we've got maintenance, we've got repairs, we've got insurance, etc., etc. So let's say in orthodontics, what would be a good example? I know they went out of business, but we'll just use like Smile Direct Club, right? I know we're all happy that they're gone. But I'm sure something else is going to pop up like this. I'm sure, and it probably already has, and I don't even know. But the point is, right? Like, people who are shopping around, they think what they want is the cheapest price. What they actually want is they want the lowest cost. The cost of something is the amount of money it takes to own this product or service forever. So if Smile Direct Club charged $2,000 for aligners, and the orthodontic specialist charged $7,000 for aligners, to the unassuming consumer, what do they see? Well, it's just plastic going on my teeth. That's a heck of a lot lower cost, but they're interchanging these words. So treatment coordinators, especially if you're selling high-end stuff, if you're selling full arch implants or all on X, and people are going to like Clear Choice, dude, you need to have this down pat. Orthodontic treatment coordinators, if you're competing against the GPs who are slashing prices, or you're competing against who knows what. I mean, I saw some on Instagram, people are like doing braces in their basement, like they're not even doctors, price and cost. So the price of Smile Direct Club's aligners was $2,000, let's just say, or $2,500. But what happened? Why did they get shut down? Why did they have class action lawsuits? Because people's teeth were falling out of their skull. And now, instead of it being a $2,000 orthodontic case, now it's a $50,000 put new teeth in your head case. Astronomically lower price, astronomically higher cost. Now, if I go see the orthodontic specialist and it's $7,000, much higher price, what's the cost? Well, if you wear your retainers, it really should cost you nothing after the time we get you braces off. Mm-hmm. An orthodontist, if you're like putting retainer plans in and not just giving them one retainer, and now mom's got to come back when Johnny loses it and it's another $500, this is how you justify a higher price without whacking them down. Put the retainers in there. Put the whitening in there. What is that? That's value that lowers the long-term cost of this treatment. Price and cost. I'm going to stop it there because I could go for hours on this topic.
Yeah, and I think for me, just a couple of ways that I can think of how this would pertain to orthodontics or dentistry. Like you said, price versus cost with the lower fees. So even if it's not Smile Direct Club, let's say price versus cost to, the DSO with the revolving door of doctors, right? So you don't ever, your price is lower. Your cost is you never build a relationship or rapport. You end up feeling like someone who's moved through like cattle. You feel like you never see or have consistent treatment because it's changing every appointment. So then you have a longer outcome of treatment. The price and cost versus postponing it. This is a great one. I had a patient whenever I was TCing that, they were, I want to say they were end of their sophomore year. Guess what their biggest thing was? They didn't want braces on during their senior pictures, during their graduation, during their senior prom. They wanted to continue to prolong it because the price, right? The price just was, seemed a little bit hard to swallow or wasn't quite ready, or they wanted to wait until income tax. I can't remember what the scenario was. Well, the cost that ended up coming from that was they had two options. A, braces were in all of those things, or B, you pay $400 for us to take your braces completely off. You go do all of these things, you come back and we put your braces back on. So now your cost is even higher, either your pictures and your outcomes, or you're paying additional money for what you could have done by getting started sooner. And then, whenever it comes to actual treatment, misalignment, people who grind, tongue thrusters, things that are seriously costing issues to your health. So the price seems like something hard to swallow, but the cost is that price is going to increase, or you're going to lose teeth and now you're looking at implants, or you're going to have to get a crown on this tooth, but guess what? You're still going to ground that crown down. So you're going to go ahead and still need to do braces. And so we can, like you said, we could sit here and go through these scenarios all day long, probably twice a day, 5 times a week. But whenever we realize that, it makes it easier for us to have those conversations because we know the cost of the outcome if we don't just deal with the price head on.
We also got to know how those people are wired, right? Like some people do truly not care about long-term cost and they just want a good price, right? Not everybody is wired the same. I can say for me, it depends on what it is. Yeah. Like clothes. I'm like Kirkland Signature Costco clothes, like all day long. They do happen to last, but like for me, clothes, like price all day long. Cause even when I buy expensive clothes, like they don't last, so you got to also know like, how's this person wired? Where do they place value? What's important to them? But regardless of how those people are wired, you got to know the concept. You got to understand, is this a price person? Is this a cost person? Because broadly, generally speaking, this is not unanimous, but broadly, generally speaking, most of the time when people say your price is too high, what they're saying is they don't see how the value of what you have is saving them long-term costs. That's not 100% of the time true, but it is true most of the time.
Yeah, it reminds me of something that Julie talks about, from pain to pleasure. Mm-hmm. It's like, are they from pain? Do they want to avoid the high cost, or are they more long-term to pleasure, and seeing where they kind of fit within all of that? And again, that comes from building connection, building rapport. But right. I want to jump into another framework here called ARP, which is acknowledge, respond, and pivot. And that is a huge core of overcoming any objection. Can y'all run me through from like start to finish a typical cost objection using that?
I mean, it's pretty similar, right? You're going to acknowledge, we're going to respond, and then we're going to pivot back into.
In response to that, Zach, I think one of the better lessons or coaching points that I got from mentors a long time ago is like, just always agree. Always agree, right? Doesn't mean you like viscerally agree with them, but if they're like, that's a lot of money, the last thing you want to be is like, no, it's not. Because now I'm like making you sound wrong or incorrect or financially like, subpar to me. Like, always agree. This is a lot of money. I agree. It's definitely not cheap. What I found out after putting my kids in orthodontic treatment was
I have one example that, I kind of looked up and look at. I mean, it's that's more than I expected, right? The price point. So we're back to price. We're going to acknowledge, right? I totally understand. It is an investment. Completely understand. However, our goal here is to ensure that you always can achieve your perfect smile. And we want to make sure that we're able to fit the treatment and the budget into your life. So we offer flexible payments and we can customize that to see what feels comfortable for you. Let me just go ahead and show you how we can go and get started without delaying. We can get you confident and moving forward in the right direction. And then, so there's acknowledge, respond, pivot, and be able to kind of shift that dynamic.
I know we've talked about empathy a few times throughout this, but starting with empathy and not the answers. I know a lot of times doctors, they want to give the spiel. They want to show their, their braininess and all of that. But why is it more powerful in building trust in the consult to lead with empathy?
I prefer to lead my entire life with empathy. I think no matter whether it's patients or people or strangers or friends or family, we all connect through trust and emotion. I don't care what personality type you are, whether you like to analyze or you're logical. At the end of the day, we're all human and we all want to feel connected in this big, crazy world. Social media would not be a thing if people didn't want to find a way to connect or a way to feel normal or understood. So I think leading in life in general with empathy is so huge. But from the ortho side or the consult side or even the dental or whichever piece that you're presenting, patients decide to trust you immediately emotionally before they're able to ever analyze logically what you're going to expect them to do. So no matter how much, outside of I'm in severe pain and I have to have a root canal or a tooth pulled and there's no other option, I'm making a choice. I'm choosing you. I'm choosing a place. And so logically, the treatment's going to typically be the same across the board, no matter where you go, but I'm going to buy off of emotion. And the minute that I have someone who's empathetic and understands me, they validate me, I'm able to open up. I don't feel dismissed. I don't shut down. So it creates a foundation where the answers that they get are going to actually matter. So they want to be seen. They want to feel not rushed. They want to know that they're valid. So I think it's just a good idea and a good standard to live life empathetically. But whenever it comes to asking someone to spend a significant amount of money and invest in a significant amount of time with you, empathy has to exist in that moment in order to move that forward.
So Zach, I think when a lot of people, and we've alluded to this earlier, but when a lot of people come into any sort of dental office, there's a lot of people have anxiety, whether it's anxiety because of they hear drills and compressors and scary stuff happening in the background, or there's anxiety because they heard that this stuff's expensive and they don't know if they can have it. And so this is just my opinion. I think that the old school doctor that always came in white coat doctor, it's very clear that I'm a notch above you or 2 notches above you. I don't think that actually reduced anxiety. I think it actually reinforced what they were feeling. And so my doctors that whether they have very high conversion practices or very high production practices or just raving fans, these are also the guys that introduce themselves by their first name, where you used to work, Mel, he never came in and said, "Hey, I'm Dr. So-and-so." He's like, "Hey, I'm Kyle."
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of empathy there, and it is your prerogative, doctor, if you're listening to this, it is your prerogative to introduce yourself as, Dr. Smith. You went through all the schooling. We didn't. The question is, does that create the type of environment where it lowers anxiety and makes people feel comfortable? People like people who are most like themselves. Okay. You want to be as far apart from the average person coming into your practice. Don't use your name. Put doctor in front of it. Put a white coat on. Press your pants. Make it very clear that you went to school and you're smarter than them. If that's how you want to roll that way. I just don't think that's the time that we live in, right? When I'm empathetic and you already know I'm a doctor. That's why you're at my office. And I'm like, hey man, I'm Kyle. I'm a person. You're a person. There's empathy in there. I always feel good when I'm meeting doctors. I'm like, hey, Dr. Smith. And he's like, hey, come on, dude. My name's Kyle. I'm like, hey, I like this guy. I will absolutely call you Dr. Kyle. Sure. But there's empathy there, right? And I think that brings anxiety down. So when people are coming in anxious about the price, anxious about the procedure, anxious about the drills, and you come in, doctor, you're literally just reinforcing everything that's in their head. Oh, he's got a white coat on. This isn't going to be cheap. Oh, he's got the white coat on. He's went to school to learn how to make pain in my mouth. You're just reinforcing what's going on. There's no empathy there.
Let me spin this for you, though.
Spin it.
So if you build the dream team, right? You build the team that believes in what you do, believes in you as the practitioner. They're going to edify you all day long, right?
True.
On the phone, I can't wait for you to meet Dr. Sparkman. He's phenomenal. It's going to be amazing. As a TC, whenever I make my introduction and my handoff, I'm all right. Here's Dr. Sparkman. So you're going to hear and see that enough, and you're going to have it. You're going to feel that from the team that you're edified, and then, like you said, you're able to bring it down to a whole new level of empathy, connectivity, and now you just get to be the amazing man that's going to make their life better, right? So I think that's awesome. That's one way to kind of look at it. Whenever, if we do kind of have that, you worked hard, you became a doctor, and I agree. And I think you build a team around you who edifies that and believes in that and produces that for you, and then you get to shock and awe each and every patient by taking it down another level and being just Kyle.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Huge. Doctors listening, please take this advice. We all know that you're smart. Trust me, we all know that you're smart. You want to win more people's trust and make them feel comfortable? No need to reinforce it. Just talk to me like a person.
I think it's huge because when you meet someone, they usually give their first name, and you're putting a barrier to entry on that. And
weird.
I know you talked to Dr. Brad Jacobs. He likes us to call him Brad, which feels weird.
Stop calling me doctor. My name's Brad.
It feels weird, but he brought up the point. He's like, we were trained to defend our cases, and it's like the people that are coming in for like the TC consult,
they're not questioning you.
They're not. You are the expert. They're there for your expertise, so you don't have to defend yourself. You don't have another doctor poking holes in your cases.
Yeah, I mean, my good friend Ben Fishbein, Dr. Ben Fishbein. Let's make that clear. But he's got a great mindset on this. He goes, people walking into your office already think you're an expert. Don't convince them otherwise.
I'll throw myself under the bus here, Harrison. I think you can remember multiple training scenarios with me. I didn't always work for Kyle. I did work for other doctors in the industry that were a little bit different on how you approach them and how they were spoke to and how things kind of ran. I had some trauma. You and me talked about it a few times.
Yeah.
Whenever I needed to be the professional, and I needed to be assertive in what I knew they needed to do to grow their practice. And I kept telling you, I was like, I can't talk to them like that. They're the doctor. I've been an assistant for 20 years, an assistant at TC for 20 years. And you would look at me like, Melissa, they're just a person. They're just a human.
They are very smart. They are very, very smart. Yeah.
But they're still a person. And I think sometimes some of that connectivity is good for them too, right? Like whenever they don't have to feel like everything's on them and there's this massive pressure. Like they went through tons of pressure of school and exams and boards and all of these things. And sometimes it might just be nice to be just Kyle. So that's just one of those little scenarios for me to kind of throw myself under the bus and kind of how whenever I got past that point, I was able to connect a lot better with the doctors and what their needs were when they were growing their practices. So little flip side on that as well.
Yeah, like Zach, imagine if we just met each other and like we went to shake hands and I'm like, hey, what's your name? You're like, hey, I'm Zach. And I'm like, oh, hey, I'm Mr. Bagden.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Now it is a form of respect, sure. But like, I don't know. I just find it odd to like introduce yourself that way. Like let the respect come to you.
Yes.
Right. Like if you were the doctor and you were like, hey, I'm Zach. I'm like, hey, I'm Harrison. I'm for sure going to call you Dr. Zach down the road.
Yeah.
But I was just at a conference this weekend, actually, and I'm like meeting everybody. Hey, Brad, Kyle, Tom. And like one guy literally was like, hi, I'm going to keep the name out of it. He was like, hi, my name's Dr. Smith. And I was like, and like the petty, I didn't say this, but like I have a little petty in me, and like the petty side of me is like, oh,
no way.
Wow, like your first name's Doctor and you're a doctor? Like that's crazy. Like obviously I didn't. I don't know. I do think this plays into empathy. I think when you try and overly reinforce the point that people already know because they're in your office, it's not really showing a lot of empathy and human to human connection. They know you're a doctor. Your name's on the frickin' door. They called your office because they had a problem. Like, just connect with people. Just my thought, And if you're the person that like just feels like you have to introduce yourself as doctor, I don't know. That might be another path that I'm not qualified to diagnose, but we may want to look at that. That may be a very subconscious barrier that's getting in the way of people connecting with you. If you have this assertive need to like introduce yourself as Dr. Kyle, like I would make you bet you're not really connecting with the people in your office.
Build a team that edifies you.
That's right. That's right.
We know somebody that we can point them to help work through that.
Yeah. Shout out. Julie Nice. Outcomes only.
So I want to quickly hit these, just rapid fire. If you got this as an objection, I need to talk to my spouse. How would you handle it?
Here's the thing. Let's keep it simple. Honor the relationship, but protect your momentum. For one, I would hope that we don't get this because we prevented this 3 steps prior. So this goes back to the talking of financials. On the phone, if you know day in and day out, all day long, you're starting braces at $300 down and your payments are under $200 a month, say it. Say it on the new patient call. Say it when you call to confirm and set expectations. Say it on the TC intro call. Say it, say it, say it. And the reason that I'm telling you this, I'm a mom. I don't know if you've had to get a child out of school, but it is basically like prison break. You have to show your ID, put your hands up. I think like they want a blood sample, a picture of you with their child in the hospital. I don't know. But the last thing I want to do as a mom is do that over and over again. However, whenever you're married and you do make decisions together and you don't know what to expect when you walk in, then you leave that question open-ended and we set ourselves up for, I need to talk to my spouse. But if I do know, if I've heard it 3 times, you get started for $500 down, $300 down, payments are under $200 a month, I'm having that conversation the night before I enter that appointment. Hey, guess what? Kagan's got an appointment tomorrow. They actually said that, we could probably get started tomorrow if everything made sense. And it's going to be $300 down and 2 payments are like under $200 a month. Is that good? Yeah, that's good. That's great. Do it. I'm showing up, debit card, hot and ready to swipe all day long. So I'm going to hope that we don't get to that. However, if we do, honor the relationship, but protect your momentum. It's as simple as this. Absolutely. I want you both to feel great about the decision. Would it make sense if I just step out for a minute, give you a moment to call, have that discussion? That way, if they have any questions, I'm right outside. You can grab me. I can answer them for both of you and give y'all both the clarification that you need to make this decision. It's that simple. Give them the room. Make it their room. Walk out. Give them that space and time. If that doesn't work, set the momentum for the next opportunity. Okay, well, would it make sense for us to go ahead and make that next appointment next week, Thursday at 2:00? That way, after you've talked about it and everything's good, all you got to do is give me a ring, shoot me a text and say we're good to go and we'll get everything ready to rock and roll. Or if that doesn't work, would it make sense for us to set up a quick 15-minute talk or, exam or appointment where they can come in with you? Keep your momentum moving. Honor their wishes, honor that relationship, but don't just stop, offer a copy of it and send them on their way. Keep the door open without pressure, but support the partnership, but but not pushing past it. So that would be my take on it. I think there's so many ways. People don't even think about it. You wouldn't believe how many people go, oh, I can call him, no problem. And you walk out the room and then guess what? They're getting braces in the clinic 30 minutes later. And here's the other side of it. A lot of times if you get it and they are just not budging on any of those, like Harrison always says, you probably lost them 3 steps prior and they just want an excuse to get out. So there's something now that you've got to rebuild, revalue, and move forward in the follow-up and hope that you can kind of turn that around. But realistically, if that's truly the concern or the issue, there's so many ways to get that taken care of without just ending that momentum.
I'll just build on a couple of things that Mel said. I'm going to beat this point to death. Any resistance or objection is a result of what happened 3 steps ago. If we do not think that people are going to want to talk to their spouse about a $5,000 to $7,000 decision, or if we're getting into implants and full arch, a $25,000 to $50,000 decision, let's say installing a BMW in their gum line, if you didn't think that that was going to need a talk with a spouse, we may want to think about another career path if you're surprised that they'd want to ask their spouse about this. So if we know that this is coming up and we are not having that conversation on the phone, there's not a lot of objection handling that anybody can teach you on this. The solution is, as Mel said, have the conversation and set them up for success so you can set yourself up for success before they even come in your room. This is mind-blowing to me. Orthodontists specifically, their favorite word, and I've gotten this with surgical dentists too, but their favorite word is efficiency. How efficient can they be with their treatment? How efficient can they be with this? Yet I listen to the phone calls and nobody's talking about the spouse. It is the most insane, inefficient thing I've ever seen. And then they go, my TC is not good. I got to send the TC to Canada for a 5-day training because they can't close. And it's like, has anybody thought that like you're asking a spouse for a monthly paycheck without talking to the spouse? Has anybody thought of this? Like, the most inefficient thing I've ever seen is giving an hour of your office's time literally to let people in there for free, and they have zero. Their intention coming into your office is to get a folder and take it home to their spouse. Their goal to take an hour of your time is to get a packet to take home to their spouse. And then we're wondering, is my TC cut out for this? I don't know if she can close. And it's like, dude, come on. Like, this is 3 steps ago. Doctors listening, I know you're very successful and you make lots of money. Or for the most part, you do pretty well and make a pretty good amount of money. Is there a certain threshold of price point where your wife or spouse still needs to call you? I mean, right? Like, even the richest people I know, there's a number that requires a phone call. And yet we're just opening up our calendar for free for 60 minutes so people can come get a folder, talk about it on the phone 3 steps ahead.
Yeah.
Now, Mel, you've got way better tactics on when that objection does come up. But if that's coming up a lot, we need to press rewind and go listen to the calls. Now, if that comes up here and there, a lot of the times that can be a cop-out to get out. You lost them 3 steps ago. This is an easy way to get out. If you want to have some fun with it, there's some fun questions, but you got to be careful on how you dance these. Like, I can't ask this to a mom. They'd probably slap me in the face, but Melissa could probably play one of these where it's like, oh, yeah, totally, absolutely. I'm just curious that, like, does your husband know that you brought the kids to the doctor today, or are we on a little secret mission here together? Obviously, the husband knows.
I won't tell him. I won't tell.
Yeah, like, break the pattern, right? Have some fun with it. You can't be like, oh, really? You need to talk to your spouse? Like, do they know you're here? Like, that's not going to work. But, like, you could have, like, yeah, totally. My wife's got to call me for X, Y, or Z, right? But have some fun with that too. Like, yeah, totally. Just got to ask you, does your husband know that you've brought the kids to the doctor's office for orthodontic treatment today, or was this a little secret mission? Because I can keep it on the hush hush if you want to. Right? I'm like calling him on the BS without calling him on the BS.
Yeah.
But be careful with that. Wouldn't be the first card I play. But if you want to have fun.
Feel the vibe. See,
yeah, but have fun with that. Like, if you're married or in a relationship, you know exactly what's going on here.
Yeah.
If this is happening all the time, the answer here is not how do I handle the spouse objection. The question is, why does this keep happening when we know 99% of the people walking through our door are going to need to talk to their spouse? Let's solve for that, not some sales tactic on getting around a spouse objection. I like what you said, Mel. Honor the relationship. Best way you can honor the relationship is give them the information the relationship needs before they come take an hour of your time.
Last one before we get into some actionable language. I want a second opinion. How do you handle that? Stay cool, but push the credibility of the office.
I'm going to give a little bit of preemptive thinking on this. I've never in my life wanted to have more appointments. So once
Facts.
again, I think this goes back to what's happening on the front end, because there are not a lot of people that I know that make 3 to 4, 5 consultations for the same thing. So we're probably losing trust somewhere along the lines or in that moment, however that happens. But maybe they do. Maybe they do. I think in that, the biggest thing is I'm going to handle it with zero defensiveness. I am going to be cool, calm, collected. Confidence is loud or isn't loud. It's calm, and people trust calm. I'm also going to be a little nosy, right? Like, so, oh, okay. Do you already have that appointment scheduled? Once again, would it maybe make sense us go ahead and like preemptively book you out a couple weeks for that start? That way, once you have that second opinion, all you got to do is shoot me a quick text, give me a quick call. We can just go ahead and move things forward. Keep the momentum always and be a little nosy. I mean, like people will kind of fumble through that. You'll start to get a feeling if they don't really have a second opinion scheduled. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, it's next Tuesday at 2. They're going to be like, you're gonna read it immediately, and you're gonna know instantly, is that really their objection? Or is it something I did, the team did, or something we lost along the way? But realistically, I'm going to be confident in knowing that the treatment plan that my doctor prescribed is perfection and exactly what they need. I'm going to be completely confident that me and my team are exactly the ones that need to be doing that treatment. And so I'm going to hold myself with that confidence, zero defensive. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, get that second opinion. We're going to be right here waiting. We can actually go ahead and set up that appointment. And after you get done visiting with them, we can go ahead and get you in and get your braces on. Just play with it, keep it light, but keep it confident. We're not selling ourselves. We're finding a solution for them, and we know that our solution is secure. So that's where I kind of go, just always making sure that zero defensive and just confident. But like Harrison always says, have a little bit of fun with it. Ask a couple questions. Is there something that about our treatment plan that maybe doesn't make sense? Is it the length? Is there something that you're concerned with that makes you feel like you need a second opinion? Ask the questions. Never be afraid to ask questions. One, I think that it elicits the fact that we care, which then also kind of can help change the outcome. But two, if I'm going to get a no down the road, I want to know why. I want to know what I did and how I can build off of it. So keep the momentum going, zero defensiveness, and just know that, in your head, they're going to return and go ahead and get them that appointment scheduled, because you know that your team and your practice is the one to handle it.
Just a couple small points on that, Mel. I think you knocked that out of the park. First and foremost, let's all remember nobody's 100% on their conversion. If you never had somebody get a second opinion, never had somebody think about it, never had somebody say no, never had somebody walk out, your local town would be building a statue for you in the middle of the city. So let's just set expectations right. I don't like baseball. I find it really boring. But if you go 3 for 10 your whole career in baseball, you go to the Hall of Fame. Let's just remember that. So if we're knocking down 7 out of 10, you're doing pretty darn good. The second thing is on this side of things, absolutely what Melissa said, like stay confident, like do not let that put a damper in your day or feel like you're inadequate or your office is inadequate. There are people who are logical that way. And for the right person, for the record, the right person getting a second or third opinion will actually make your job way easier. Maybe you don't get the same day start, or you don't get the case if you're an implant doctor, whatever. But for the right person, getting a second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th, whatever opinion will make your job exponentially easier, because it's either going to make it to where you never have to follow up with this person because they started somewhere else, or they call you back with a credit card in hand. There's no more going through the whole thing. So it can be a very polarizing thing. Respect their decision. I would also build on what you said, Mel, that not too many people really want to go to more appointments. Like the second somebody or I figure out that there's like another thing in the way here, like I'm not super stoked. Like I got a roof leak and I got one of those roofing guys knocking on my door. Oh, a storm's come through here. We'll get your roof covered with insurance, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds great. I got a thing. He's here. And then it's super easy. We come, we look, we submit, done. Not even close. No, we come, we look, we leave. We come, we look again with another guy, we leave. Then we come, we look again. And I'm like, how many times am I going to have to work from home? Just get on the roof, like it's a pain. It's actually resistance. And I don't even know if I get a good quote from this roof guy, but now knowing the process that you come, you leave, you call me back, you come, you leave, there is no shot I'm getting a second opinion. You're either going to get this thing covered by insurance or I'm on to the next thing. So most people don't really want more appointments. And so this is a rough talk track. And Mel, you've kind of alluded to this, but like something like this is rough, is not word for word, but I want a kind of wide net statement here. Wide net statement, like, is it this or is it this, is kind of the concept. And so I'd be just trying to investigate like, oh yeah, of course we always want to agree, right? Totally understand. This is a big decision. You want to feel super confident, no buyer's remorse. Don't want to be looking over your shoulder on that, whatever. Agree. But then I just want to kind of uncover, like Mel said, be a little nosy. I just want to uncover, be like, I mean, just so we can get better, or just for my own knowledge, I'm just curious, like, is something that we showed you just like not perfect? Or do you like just truly want to set up multiple appointments and take Johnny out of school 4 or 5 times and get a lot of opinions? Like, you got to play with that, but is it like, or you could ask, if everything was perfect, would you want to get started today? Or do you just have this absolute desire to fill out lots of health history forms and take Johnny out of school and sit in the waiting room? Like, is that what, I'm being overly exaggerating here, but like, is that what you really want? Like, are you really the analytical person that wants to go to the office and fill out forms? Or is it just because something wasn't perfect?
Yeah.
And then a lot of times, what are they going to say? Well, it was honestly just a little bit more expensive than we were hoping. Aha. Okay, well, how do you need the money part to work for you? Right? So give them a this or a that. Give them a this or a that. Is it because something wasn't perfect, or are you really just like, that's like your thing? You're the I had 17 opinion mom, and you can brag to everybody at Starbucks that you made the best informed decision. Figure that out. What's the real cause here?
I don't mean to brag, but I've met every orthodontist in town.
You know what? And tell you what, guys, that mom that literally is going to get an opinion at every office, if you win their business and just humor them, guess what? She's going to be your best referral source, because she's telling everybody at Starbucks, trust me, ladies, because I'm so smart and I'm so important, I went to every office, literally every office, and Dr. Zach Ortho is literally the best. So like, some of these people can be good referral sources, but I think the biggest thing is finding out the real root of this. Is, are you just like I have to be smart, I have to be right, and no matter what, even if your price was good, your treatment plan was good, your doctor was good, like I need that to sleep well at night? Or is something just not perfect? Well, something's not perfect. If it was perfect, would you start today? Yes. Okay, what's not perfect? Is it perfect now? Here's a pen.
I love all the stuff that y'all been giving. I want one last segment here, and that is talking about using active language. So an example would be, would you like to start this week or next? And talk to me about like what makes action-oriented questions effective, and what is a phrase that every team should start using?
I'm not even sure that I love active questions. I like active statements. So once again, they don't know exactly how things are supposed to move along. And my job is to guide them to the solution and guide them to exactly how that's going to work. So whenever it comes down, I mean, I'm going to always assume everyone's ready for braces at the end of it. That's how I move through. That's how I have communicate. So at the end of it, it's all right. So let's go ahead and get started. Did you want to put that payment on debit, credit, cash, ACH? I mean, we're just going straight into that. But as far as for appointments, whenever we leave it open-ended, people start looking at calendars, their kids' calendars, and this calendar. I'm offering, hey, you know what? We've got next Tuesday at 2:00. Does that sound great? Or actually, we've got 30 minutes in the clinic right now. We can go ahead and grab them. I think whenever we walk them down this path, like we're the tour guide. Like I've never been on a tour guide where they're like, would you like to know what happened in this room over here for a chance? Like, no, they're like, all right, so back in 1916, so-and-so was shot and murdered. So I'm the tour guide. I'm telling you how to do this. I'm here. I'm on the ride. And it's my job now as the TC to take you there. So feeling confident and being able to guide them actually helps them to continue already moving forward, which is what they're doing. If we've done our job right effectively 3 steps prior throughout the entirety of this, they're ready to go. So instead of, do you want to start? All right, we ready to get going? I think the clinic's ready. You know, I mean, we would do these things. One of my favorite things Dr. Sparkman and I would do, he would walk out of the room. Doctors, listen to this. Every time he'd walk out of the room, he'd say, can't wait to see you back in the clinic in a few minutes. Every single time. Every single time. That set the standard and expectations that this is what we're supposed to do. Oh, great. Next step is we're going back to the clinic. Here we go. Guess what? My job was easy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get you back to the clinic with Dr. Sparkman. Mom, I just need to get a couple signatures and we'll take that down payment and we'll get things moving along. And so it makes them just feel like it's a natural step and not a big decision. I don't have some big open-ended question. I don't have to decipher whether that's what I should or shouldn't do. So work together as a team. Like doctors, give your TC that little one-liner on the way out. I would always ask questions like, hey, what color are you going to get today? You know, yeah. I mean, there's all these things that you're planting the seed, you're planting the momentum. And then at the end of it, it literally just comes down to, well, let's just get these signatures and down payment taken care of and get you in the clinic. So open-ended questions are just going to kill it every time. I'm not here to contemplate. I'm here because I have a problem. You're my solution, and you're just going to walk me through the steps.
People don't like big decisions. People like easy. That's why Amazon went so big. It's easy. You can literally buy stuff while you're sleeping. It's easy, you know? And like me and my wife, we went out to stores last weekend, and like I don't do crowds and stores, and it's like, oh my God, like no wonder Amazon's taken over. I don't know the last time I've like been in like a retail store. It's because it's easy. So it still makes the point here of like, when do you want to get started? The typical brain is like going through like a million scenarios. Oh, I don't know. Well, Johnny's got school and baseball and ballet. I'm sure. You know, I don't know. I need to go home and talk to my spouse, right? But when I make it really, really easy, like, and maybe you're not pushing the same day start. I could be a little lighter and say, all right, Mom, do you want me to go get a chair ready in the clinic today? Or would you like to take Johnny out to school again and take time again off work next week? You know, you could be a little sneaky that way if you want to, because that is the reality, right? I'm not being sneaky. It's like, do you want me to go get a chair ready in the clinic now for Johnny so you guys don't have to come back? Or would you like to take some extra time off work and take him out of school and come back next week? What's the easy answer? Nah, let's just do it now.
Presenting friction versus frictionless. Yeah. It's like you can have both options, but this one's going to be easier.
Yeah, but like, let's even go back to like the phone call. Like, yeah, we're in the clinic now, but like the phone call.
The same day.
When would you like to come in? I can't stand that question. I don't know, like ASAP, like, you know, like let's be a little more specific. All right, cool. Let's start here. Is there a specific day you're looking for, or are you just looking for first available? Let's work through this chain. Is there a specific day you're looking for, or are you looking for first available? I'm looking for first available. Next segment. Great. Are you more of a morning kind of gal or an afternoon kind of gal? I'm a morning kind of gal. Okay, my first available is I can do a Tuesday at 8 a.m. or a Thursday at 9 a.m. What's better for you?
I also love kind of like making it sound like a surprise, right? So whenever I'm looking at things from a front desk perspective, oh my gosh, we actually have an opening tomorrow at 1. I mean, we're busy. Like, people are coming to see us. This is the spot to be, So, what? We've actually got a spot at 1:00 tomorrow. You want to take that? I mean, there's just so many opportunities to build more excitement and opportunity there by guiding and directing, or like you said, not asking open-ended questions, asking questions that guide you to that outcome.
Would you like to pay cash or credit?
Was there a specific type of treatment that you wanted, like aligners or braces, or were you just looking for whatever the doctor recommended for your case?
Yeah.
As opposed to pulling out all the Typodons and going, what do you want? You've got 5 different kinds of brackets. You got clear and metal and champagne and gold and aligners. And they're like, oh, I don't know. Do you know what kind of treatment you wanted, or did you just want what doctor recommended?
Pick a hand, any hand, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much for being on this episode. And Mark Twain said it best: the secret of getting ahead is getting started. So get out there and start making the changes you want to see in your practice today. This has been Zach,
Melissa,
and Harrison.
Thank you for watching the GrowOrtho Podcast.